Hey everyone, Thordan Smash here, and the threat level event, store sale, actually just came out yesterday, and with it a couple of new rotations, all that normal stuff, but devs have recently said that they plan on Apex Legends being a 10 to 15 year game. So today we're going to talk about what that actually means, what changes are going to come into the game, because it can't just be these store/event sales in the future. We're also going to give out 45 bucks. All you gotta do is like, comment, subscribe. You guys know the drill. But without further ado, let's talk about what Apex Legends has in plans for the future. So as we continue our trek on season 17, it should come as no surprise that back in season 16, two developers, one known as Evan Nikolic and the other actually being the founding member of Respawn, Vince Zampella, said that they wanted Apex Legends and its content to continue to be pushed out for the next 10 to 15 years. In fact, they opened up a brand new studio in Wisconsin devoted solely to Apex Legends, as EA had them working on multiple different projects such as Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which just recently released, and another Star Wars game. And while that's very exciting, it's important to note that for 10 to 15 years of content to be happening, there needs to be a lot of fixes, because in a very thread talking about that, players continually pointed out the fact that the server issues continually log off and cause people to crash. We're still waiting on the next gen console port 2 years later, and cross progression is at a little bit of a crossroads, you could even say. But there is still a ton to look forward to in the future of Apex Legends. We've seen crazy stuff. Back in season 8, Blisk was being playtested to actually come into the game. He had a droppable Titan that would fire a sentry-like weapon and could scan the immediate area. Now obviously Blisk never made it in. Apparently he was going to be the single player main character of the Apex Legends single player game, which was canceled, which questions on if we are really going to get 10 to 15 years of content. But along with that, we have a bunch of legends that we know Respawn is always working on. Out of the list that was leaked, we still can look forward to Conduit, Scryer, Uplink, Phantom, and Jester, although Jester, from what I've heard, is completely scrapped, so don't count on that. That was another Titanfall 2 reference, as he was a character that was actually added in but then cut before Titanfall 2 released. There's also brand new maps that are in the works and LTMs. We've seen a ton of that as well. There's a big team battle that looks to be going on that was in playtest back in season 12, and of course there's also the Titanfall LTM where you actually try to score a goal, and it's a back and forth like a football/soccer match. It seems overall very cool, although we haven't seen that content officially released. I'm sure it has something to do with the next battle royale map coming into the game, which we all know is going to be Titanfall themed. But even with all that good content, like I said, we still haven't gotten the 120 frames per second, and so it leads a lot of people to say, well, are we ever actually going to be getting an Apex Legends 2? Unfortunately, the developers have also said there's never going to be a sequel. It will always be Apex Legends. We react to the community, involve, and continue to pivot in future seasons, adding new content, new legends too, which makes sense because the source engine that was actually made for Apex Legends is a heavily modified, and it started with Titanfall 1, and it's been so wonky and changed throughout the years that they would have to literally rebuild the game of Apex Legends if they were going to give it an engine upgrade. So this isn't going to go the same route as Counter-Strike with Counter-Strike 2. Luckily though, one of the saving graces in Apex Legends has always been the way that weapons actually feel in the game. It's actually one of the best things that Respawn does, and we do know we have a ton of new future weapons coming into the game. We've seen stuff like the Scorpion that is a crossbow that fires automatically. Hopefully when that comes in, we'll also be getting the bow check on the ground. I imagine that's actually coming pretty soon. We also have the Maelstrom LMG, which I do think at this point has probably been scrapped. They don't want to add any more LMGs in, and this was found back in the files in like season 8. There's the Fanatic, which actually is still being worked on and coming in very soon. It's a dual wield energy pistol. Of course, there's the Gemini, which is an energy SMG, which will be interesting to balance with the Volt. I think that's still a little bit ways off, but we'll have to wait and see. But with all the new legends and content coming in, it's a great way to start. It's a great way to continue the trend of what they are building there. One thing that does need to start getting a major overhaul is actually the in-game events. This season is a little bit of a letdown because, as you can see here, you get 4 pictures if you collect the treasure packs, although they're unlocked immediately. Whereas back in season 5, we actually had quests where we could go with our friends and do a player versus environment challenge, killing prowlers and trying to collect parts of Ash's head before she was introduced. This was fantastic. I think the last major in-game event we got was the White Raven back in season 10, where you collected White Ravens on the Battle Royale map as Bloodhound, and it gave us a story narrative, although I still have no idea what the actual story was. It just ended with some Bloodhounds in like a Super Saiyan red form. It was very weird, but it would be nice to go back to that. It does seem in this season we are getting that, as Ashley Reed, who the character Ash is actually named after, who is one of the narrative leads at Respawn, said we've got something that's coming a little bit closer to the middle of the season, end of the season, that we don't want to talk about too much yet because we want to make sure you actually get a chance to see it. And they're looking at ways to tell bigger and more cohesive, longer stories. And I am very excited for that, but we need to get out of this trend where they are just pumping us full of events. We just got the threat level event yesterday, and it's just a recolor store. This is not an event. The main mode that's on display right now is Control, which we've had. This isn't anything new. I don't know why we did a trailer, and while I do have a lot of hope for the future of Apex Legends lasting 10 to 15 years, they need to start addressing the major concerns within the community right now, rather than pumping us full of these events. Let me know down below, how would you like to go about making Apex Legends a little bit different in the future, and what kind of changes do you think need to come immediately to make this game successful in the long term? Don't forget to check out the second channel here by my editor, Novell, and until next time, Legends, keep slaying the Outlands. I'll see you out there.